I've had a lot of questions and comments about people asking about getting into the forestry mulching business, and it seems like a lot of the questions and comments were related specifically to, what size and type and maker of skid steer and forestry head mulcher to get to run in forestry mulching business. So I wanted to make a video for people who have those kind of questions and are curious. I've gotten comments and questions anywhere from California and Portland to Florida to Massachusetts, New York, North Carolina, South Carolina, just all over the place, Minnesota. So if you're not in, and a lot of the questions are from people who are already in the landscaping business and want to do forestry mulching to complement their business, or from the tree service business and they want to get into forestry mulching. Those kind of people already have equipment and understand some of the logistics involved with this stuff. So this video is really kind of geared for people who are interested in this kind of thing and maybe doing a kind of a career change to get outside and enjoy the great outdoors, just like I do. So I wanted to just kind of generally go over some equipment and selecting equipment that is needed, to conduct this kind of business. So everybody would know that it's not just the machine. So here we have, you need a truck to pull your equipment, you need a trailer, and you need a machine. So I just want to go over my thought process when I was starting in this business 3.5 years ago of, where do you start? What are the priorities? What am I looking for? Things like that, if you have no idea what you're looking for. So of this type of equipment, the first place you start is at your machine. Okay, the size of the machines vary, the weights of the machines vary, the capabilities, the options, the prices, all those things. I use a Bobcat T770. This is my second machine. To me it works great, but there's other machines out there to try out too. Cat makes a good machine, Kubota makes a good machine. So some of the questions I had about that is, why did I pick my machine? And the first thing I say to people is, it really depends on who's located in your local area. You might not have a Bobcat dealer around you. Purchasing a machine is just one part of it. Owning the purchase price of a machine is just one part of the total cost of owning a machine. Okay, the other part of that is the follow-on maintenance, and that has to be considered because you're going to be taking your machine into the shop for warranty items. You're going to break that stuff. You're going to take it to the shop. You're going to need some hydraulic hoses, parts, and whatever. And so you want your dealership to be close. So that's like a big factor on who you may select for a forestry mulching machine, or for a skid steer at least. In my area, I'm in Clarksville, Tennessee. I just happen to, we happen to have everybody. We have Cat, Bobcat, Kubota, John Deere, everybody. When I was doing my homework at the time, 3.5 years ago, well, really 4 years ago, when I was just starting to look, Kubota didn't make a machine this size. So I looked at Caterpillar, a 299D XHP, which is a great machine. And I looked at the Bobcat, the T770, and the Bobcat T870. Okay, the 870 for Bobcat is the biggest machine they picked, or the biggest machine they make. The 770 here is a 92 horsepower machine. To run a forestry mulcher, it really takes two things. If you watched any of my other videos, the biggest thing for efficiency out of that cutting head is the RPMs. You want the speed of that cutting head to go as fast as possible. There's a lot of weight, and which generates the inertia, which gets that thing cutting through the hardwoods. So you want to pick a machine that it definitely has to have high flow hydraulics, which for my machine, which is 37 or 39 gallons per minute, and different manufacturers have a little bit different high flows ratings, but this T770 is like 37 gallons a minute, and it has 92 horsepower to keep that hydraulic pump pushing at that rate. So so what it came down for to me is, and I've had some questions about this too, if it comes down to between two dealers that you're working with, and you're comparing the apples to apples, okay, you want the same kind of horsepower rating, the same kind of hydraulic flow. You want to be in the machine, test it out. When you're serious about buying a machine and ready to pull a trigger on it, and your salesperson at that place knows you're serious, tell them to bring a machine out to your place if you have a place to use it or drive it, or ask him if he has a demo in your area going on where they're going to show the machine to a few different customers and they let you drive it and operate it. That's the best way to do it. I did that with both Caterpillar, where they happened to have a group demo where I got to drive the machine, cut down some trees and everything, get the feel of the controls inside the cab and everything. The machine was great. With Bobcat, they brought a machine out to my place. I tried it on my place, and so see what works for you. What it came down for me was price. Caterpillar was about $10,000 or $11,000 more. And again, just the purchase price isn't the only consideration. It's also who is close enough to you to give you follow-on service. Okay, that goes into your total operating cost decision. Okay, or your life cycle costs. So I just happened to pick a Bobcat T770. So what this did then is this T770 is about 10,500 pounds dry. When you load it up with fuel and all the oils, it's about 11,000 pounds. This happens to be a cutting head that Bobcat sells, and it's made by Fecon. Just so happens to be made by Fecon. This cutting head itself weighs about 2,200 pounds. So that's another reason you want a good sized machine that has weight, because when you're raising 2,200 pounds up on a boom, being on a flat surface is one thing, but when you're working in a forest or woods, you're always on slopes and things like that. So that really cuts down on, I just want to call it the kind of a critical angle for tipping. So you want to make sure your machine has the weight behind it to pick a forestry mulcher head up, because they're heavy. No matter who makes them, they're heavy. So definitely tracks. You want tracks on your equipment. Number one, for traction. Number two, it gives you a nice, long, stable base for when you're lifting this much weight constantly. It just gives you a nice, solid base, whether laterally or fore and aft. So knowing your weights of the machine, that's kind of all I'm going to say about the machine. You can get whatever is in your general area and within your price range that works for you. Now this machine happens to have 18-inch tracks, and it's a little bigger machine, so it's a little wider. So I don't know if you can tell, you probably can't really tell, but this is centered, the machine is centered on the trailer, okay? And the edge of the tracks kind of almost go to the tires. So there's two things. The next thing is the trailer. So the first thing you're looking for is what kind of machine and what size. The next kind of limiting factor is your trailer. So you have to have a trailer that the machine is going to ride safely on, weight-wise or rating-wise. I happen to get a trailer that it's a 20,000-pound trailer. It's a total length of 25 foot. The flat deck is 20 foot. It's got two 8,000-pound axles. I just went with the single wheels because I didn't want dualies just because of maintenance. I didn't want to be buying 4 tires or having a blowout on a highway with an inside tire, and I didn't need that. So part of my decision making was, optimizing the equipment. I didn't want to go like so oversized, which leads to more expense. I wanted to get what safely worked for the equipment that I have. So again, this is about 11,000-pound machine, 2,200-pound cutter head. So that's 13,200 pounds. Again, I got a longer trailer because what I do is I also have a grapple, which is 82 inches wide, which is almost 6.5 feet or so. And I have a construction bucket, which is an 80-inch construction bucket. So I can side load those onto my trailer when I'm taking those to job sites. If you're not going to do that, that's what works for my business. If you're not going to carry other equipment on your trailer, and again, this flat deck is 20 feet. You can probably go, 5 feet shorter. You get a 15-foot or maybe a 20-foot total. Again, this is 25-foot trailer, but the dovetail on it is a 5-foot dovetail, okay? So if you're not going to carry extra equipment, you can go with a shorter trailer and lessen up some of the expense. But this is what worked for me. The tires on it, the rims are super heavy-duty steel. They're heavy-duty equipment trailer tires. I've got I picked tires that had, I think these are 10-ply tires plus sidewall plies because just like the ground here, I'm always driving on the people's lands or on their farm. It's unimproved, rocky, sticks, whatever. So just to avoid punctures in the tires from debris on the ground or rocks or branches, get a good set of tires. But getting back to, and again, I have an over-the-deck, this is called an over-the-deck trailer top, compared to, I don't have any wheel wells, so the deck sits up higher so it can get over the wheels. And the reason I got an over-the-deck was just for practical purposes. The machine was too wide with the tracks to fit between wheel wells. I think it's 88 inches is the width from sided track to side to track. And I couldn't find a trailer anywhere that had 88 inches between wheel wells. So I went with the over the wheel deck. Going up here, I got a gooseneck. Several reasons I picked a gooseneck is because it handles a load better. It rides better. So the gooseneck that goes on my truck sits just like any other gooseneck. Sits right over the axle, so it's a more stable ride. This particular trailer was from Appalachian. They manufactured them. They're right outside of Akron, Ohio. Again, I'm in Clarksville, Tennessee. So I ordered this from them. They had a great selection. They manufacture them right there. They sent me a worksheet to do all the measurements on my truck for my side beds, my tailgate height, the width, and some other measurements. So when they put the connector on it, they do all the adjustments. They build out the gooseneck far enough and high enough to give you clearance on the truck. So this was like, a nice custom part that they do when they're building the trailer for you. You kind of order it and they build it for you. So that was a nice thing. The rear ramps on this were also good. I mean, they're heavy duty ramps. Again, this is about 13,000 pounds of machine. I see a lot of people carrying Bobcats around and their ramps are bent. So these, when they drop down, I kind of like this design. When they drop down, they have the extra support on the bottom, because when you get up on the ramp, it's going to drop you down a little bit. So the stand helps, gives you good stability. So I like that about it. Good heavy duty ramps. What else? So again, the first thing you're looking for is select your machine. The size of the machine is going to kind of determine your optimal size trailer that you need. Okay, and again, this trailer is capable of 20,000 pounds. Some people ask me, well, if it's a 20,000 pound trailer, you got two 8,000 pound axles, that's 16,000 pounds. But with a gooseneck or any kind of trailer, a certain percentage of the weight gets carried on the gooseneck, gets carried by your truck. So you're kind of sharing the load. Okay. Anything else about the trailer? Always carry a spare. Definitely good to have a spare. Don't have a blowout on the highway and try to be jacking up your trailer. So the last thing I got was, then I picked a truck. So when I'm loaded, again with the 13,000 pounds of equipment, when I have my bucket and my grapple on there, it's close to 18,000 pounds or so. This particular truck is it's a Dodge Ram. It's a 3500. It's got the 6.7 Cummins diesel in it. This truck happens to be rated, can tow 20,000 pounds, a little over 20,000 pounds. The bed, where the hookup goes, where the ball is, this is capable of carrying 4,900 pounds in the bed, and you don't get all the squat or anything like that. And again, one other thing I like about having a gooseneck compared to a bumper pull is that it's a little more maneuverable. And this is a long trailer, it's 25 feet. So when I'm going in and out of people, sometimes it's just basically driveways or, looking for places that turn around that aren't really farms. The maneuverability on this, on a gooseneck, is much better than a bumper pull, because you can almost get a 90-degree, well, I can turn this thing, like truck and the trailer, I can turn it 90 degrees if I have to. Okay, so goosenecks are just more maneuverable and they ride better on your truck. So these are some of the things. So again, starting point, pick a machine, then find a trailer, and optimize the stuff. I'm not one to go big just for the sake of going big. The mission of my business is to do this. I've got this size skid steer and I carry a bucket and a grapple. That's what I need it. Select the trailer that's going to carry that weight and be functional for you. Then once you have the trailer, and this trailer weighs about 4,000 pounds. So when you're talking about 13,000 pounds there, when I have my grapple and bucket on there, so that's another 2,000 pounds. It's a little less than 2,000 pounds. So that's 13, 14, 15,000 pounds. Trailer, 4,000 pounds. You're talking 19,000 pounds. In the truck, I've run this over scales. This is a 9,000 pound truck. So in a lot of states, or most states, 30,000 pounds is your maximum gross vehicle weight without requiring CDL license. Once you start getting over 30,000 pounds, in most states, you're required to have a CDL license. The same thing as like a trucker, I guess. I don't know. I don't have one. I don't need one, so I never looked into it that much. So, so this is the equipment. So when people are asking about getting into the business, and the machine itself costs a lot, the cutting head costs a lot, just remember that the machine itself doesn't make a business. You have to get the machine someplace, so you need the equipment to get it there. Again, this size trailer was about $4,900, I think. You know, a heavy-duty truck. And again, this is new. These are new prices that I'm talking about. New truck with that size engine and everything. You know, you're talking $55,000 for the truck. Skid steer. This happens to be a 2017 with all the options, like rollover protection. You know, they have safety equipment on here specifically for forestry mulching. I have the joysticks in there. It's called the A91 package. It comes with some different things. And because it's enclosed, it comes with heater and air conditioning and that kind of stuff. So that machine itself sitting there was $83,000. The cutter was $25,000. Trailer, $49,000. Truck, $54,000. And probably the last thing you need is some kind of shop space. Unless you want to put this in your garage at home, you have to have some place to do maintenance. So there's certain equipment, you know, you're going to want compressors and some other equipment, and a place big enough to do your maintenance on this. Some things I recommend for hauling equipment is how you tie your equipment down. I've seen some people riding with bobcats with the nylon straps. Not sure about those myself, even though they say they might be 5,000 pound straps. What I use, and I got this, I kind of did some research and see what truckers use, and this is Type 70 transportation chain. It's Type 70 chain. I use these T turnbuckles or ratchets or whatever you want to call them. Snug them down. This is like the proper way to tie a heavy piece of equipment down, because you know, people will be slamming on their brakes in front of you and pulling out in front of you, and you don't want this machine to come sliding forward and do any damage or slide off the trailer while you're driving. So basically, the proper way to chain these things down, this bobcat has tie down points at all four corners. Tie it down. The proper way to tie them down is to hook them tight on both sides, leave all the slack, take these the turnbuckle and ratchet all the slack, and then wrap the slack around it. That's a proper like tie down. And again, they shouldn't be sideways. They should be forward, and the rear one should be back. That's, you know, for acceleration and deceleration. You want the chains to be pulling from the front and pulling from the back for the stability and safety of this, so it doesn't shift. And that's that. I've got my chain here for tying down the other equipment that I carry. One thing I do, I just carry gas cans. This is about a full fuel load if I was empty at the end of the day. My T770 has a 42-gallon gas tank, and doing forestry mulching, I'll burn between 4 to 5 gallons per hour. So I'll go through almost that much in a full, like 8-hour day, say, or 9-hour day. So I like to carry enough fuel to refill it up at the end of the day, leave the equipment on the job site, drive home, refill up my cans. I don't use the bed fuel tank. only because it's just a personal preference. I don't like them. And lifting 5-gallon cans keeps me young. Just a truck. Why did I get a full-size cab, short bed? Again, I could have got a full-size cab and a long bed, but I didn't need it. This is a work truck. So just to shorten it up, I got the regular 6-foot bed. I got the full-size cab for 2 reasons. Because I use this as kind of like my service truck and my bike riding truck. So in here I carry all my tools that I need for any, tightening things up, taking off hydraulic filters. Got all my wrenches, toolbox, grease gun. In my big tool bag I've got all my cleaning equipment, tubes of grease, big wrenches, stuff to change my tires, zip ties, just things to do, some basic maintenance on a job site, or pull broken hoses off or something like that, and grease gun in case the track comes off, to resurface my tracks, ratchets. It's winter time now, so I carry a jumper, a battery jumper. Here in these bags, I've got 2 bags that I carry. One is full of recovery equipment, and this has things like the big come-alongs, some 100-foot length of high-strength rope that's rated at 4,500 pounds. Tree straps to wrap around trees. I've got a couple of heavy-duty pulleys, so I can get some mechanical advantage out there if the bobcat's stuck. So I could do a come along and help pull it out. This other one, I keep chainsaw stuff. So I keep a chainsaw, my oils, all that stuff in case I'm stuck. Say on a slope and I'm binded up between some trees or whatever, I can cut my way out of the trees. So again, I use the back seat of mine, and this has, my truck happens to have a platform that folds down, so everything sits in here nice and flat and accessible. And then again, I can just lock it up and all my tools are safe. So that's kind of some of the things that go into, the forestry mulching business for people that are asking. And again, it's just not how much does the machine cost and how much can you make. There's a little more to it than that. So I just wanted to give, my experience of my logic process of how I selected my equipment and the kind of process I went through. You can't have a Gould truck and then kind of backplane your way to the machine. It kind of has to work the other way around. So anyway, I hope this information is helpful to some people out there that are considering or thinking about it, getting into the business.